and it's the little thing spinning. I think we're actually live. Hey, whoa, on time, no less.
Whoa, oh geez, I feel so on the spot.
I know.
It's like I've never done this before. Well, welcome to, I don't know, halfway between season 4. Well, not halfway between, halfway through. I know English. Trying to learn German. Give me a break. Brain's a little scrambled up. We would love it if you'd like and share and subscribe. And you can see we're already a little. How many sheets to the wind are we right now? 2? Maybe just 2.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 2. It's only 2. That's how many sheets were.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I'll shut
I'm Eric Rosenblatt, and Casey and I, we write our own music. Normally, a normal episode, not live, there would be a song at the end, but there won't be a song at the end until we figure out how to do that.
And you can tell when that happens because Eric has his little on-air sign on.
Yeah. Yep. If you see that, that thing lit over there, that means it'll be a song until we get some kind of control panel or something. But hey, that's the thing. Check our website, go there. I don't know, sign up for our Patreon or buy some merch. We have a little bit of merch right now, and maybe that can help fund us to have proper equipment and a proper setup and enough time to properly figure out how to do things. Yeah. All right, Casey. Well, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I think we've mentioned this before in passing in other episodes, but we haven't really gotten into the supply chain issues that we've been having for well over a year already, I think.
Yeah.
And how it's driving prices up, how it's making things scarce, and how real is this? What are the causes? What would be the fixes?
Ooh, yeah, that's a deep topic because honestly, I think it's really complicated. Man, whew, yeah.
I mean, there might even be an element of conspiracy theory to discuss.
There actually could be several elements conspiracy kind of entwined, like a evil person twirling their mustache or folding their fingers together like this, or petting their cat while laughing maniacally or something. Yeah, there could be quite a few things going on. I mean, honestly, looking at it as objectively as I can, to me, it feels like the perfect storm too. There's so many things happening kind of all back to back that it just upset the entire system because people get complacent. They become accustomed to things being predictable and stuff and build everything around that, like, oh well, it's always going to be this way, and then all of a sudden it isn't, and people are suddenly buying shit tons of toilet paper. It can kind of upturn things. And
that's what kicked it off too, the toilet paper. I even did like a little parody song of God Only Knows, with in parentheses what I'd do with TP, and you can find that somewhere on our channel. It's kind of funny. But it started out as funny, right? Like, oh, look at all the dumb people who think they need toilet paper because this virus that's not known for diarrhea is a new thing. And I could never draw those lines. Like, why toilet paper?
That one that came out of left field. It took even me, like a Uber prepper, by surprise. Like, I never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that toilet paper would be the big deal, right? I would always think like, oh, it's at least food. Yeah, food wasn't really a thing. People were using online delivery services and things like that, and food was still rolling along. Yeah, it was the toilet paper that was running out, and people were, well, even in the Halloween episode, the last one that we did, that the toilet paper. Yeah, like it, that you broke that packaging by hitting me with that, actually.
I broke your toilet paper.
Yeah. and I actually only had like a little bit of backup. I thought, yeah, have like 10 rolls or something, that should be good enough. But yeah, it was an extended shortage of toilet paper. And that, I guess maybe that's the thing. It's like you can plan all you want. And me, I try to set things up for any possible contingency. And I thought I had, and toilet paper was not one of those. Fortunately, I did actually have a pretty good backstock of toilet paper because I buy a lot in advance. But a lot of people didn't. And, I mean,
you remember the heady days of 2003 when I came home with a giant TV sized box, and we're talking like CRT TV of toilet paper. Like, you remember that massive box of toilet paper I bought like right when we moved in, and I don't think we ever ran out.
Oh yeah, you got that at Cash and Carry too. I think you paid like $30 or something for that, and it was like hundreds.
They're so cheap, and there was so much toilet paper, and it was like really good toilet paper too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think that the same kind of, I guess, I don't want to say it's like an error really, but, or like a miscalculation is probably a better way to put it. The same kind of miscalculations apply to industry. Like, well, hey, there's always going to be trees, right? So we'll always have wood until there aren't. Or, oh, there's always going to be coal until there isn't. Or there's always going to be lead until that starts getting scarce or something. Like, and when I think the thing that makes this, given the way everything went, and I don't, it's not entirely pandemic related, but certainly that is a catalyst for a lot of this. What was I going to say? Shit.
Catalyst is the right word, because that is really what kind of kicked it off, but it's not like interwoven into all the after effects. It's just that was something that created a panic, and you probably don't even need that just in time for toilet paper, right? It'll never go bad. So the fact that like this pandemic created such a panic that it ate away at something that wasn't even perishable, like, well, nobody saw this coming.
Let me see if I can like collect thoughts back to what I was saying. I mean, I guess really it comes down to the fact that everything is so interconnected, that the dependencies for industry are not just down the street. It's global. Mm-hmm. There are things coming from all kinds of different countries that are brought, purchased and modified in some kind of industrial sense, and then changed to something that becomes a component of something else, and then those things are bought and shipped and moved, and all it takes is one wrench to be thrown into that, and that whole thing comes to a grinding halt. And because they are all kind of interconnected, like even things that you wouldn't think are connected actually are. And people not being able to go to work too, that upset things. And certainly the thing is, like, okay, I'll use an example of something that is I guess close to me. You remember the Sandy Hook shooting, right, in 2013?
Yeah,
that whole thing that happened. Well, people just started panic buying guns and ammo after that because they thought there was going to be some kind of reactionary legislation or something like that. So people were buying ammo, like the shelves of stores were just barren. There was like nothing there. And in fact, also during COVID-19, the exact same thing happened. Yeah. And so when the dust settled after 2013 and people were made aware of the fact that, well, okay, really things aren't really going to be that different. It took, like, you could not buy 22 caliber ammunition in any kind of quantity for like 4 years after that. It took 4 years, or I mean, even now it's still a little bit iffy, or before the pandemic, I should say. It's a little bit iffy. They're still kind of rationing how much 22 you could buy or how much ammo you could buy.
And people don't understand why that is, because like that's a thing that needs to be made, and it needs to be made to like pretty good standards so that it's efficient and reliable and, you know, doesn't blow up in your hand. So yeah, they can make a bullet pretty fast, but when everybody across the country wants to buy them, you'd be wasting a lot of time and effort and money shipping out 3 boxes here, 3 boxes there. You got to wait until you amass a bit of a surplus to disseminate across the whole goddamn country.
Oh, you know? Yeah. Well, and this is something too that I don't think people understand is the logistics of the supply chain. Things don't just come directly from the factory to your doorstep or to a store that you buy them from, or they don't necessarily come from a farm in the local area. Like, you know, eggs or something might go to a distribution center first and then be collected together and packaged and stuff like that and put on a truck and brought to a store. Or maybe they go to a store's distribution center and then the store figures out where it needs to go. And I mean, there is kind of a lot of mathematics and science behind like how you stock shelves and how much you want to purchase. Because obviously with perishable stuff like eggs and whatnot, you don't want to buy too many, because then you have a whole warehouse full of eggs going bad and not enough people are buying them.
Logistics, that's what that's called, right?
Yeah, logistics. Yeah.
And that really is like its own thing. It's a very unique and specific way of thinking that's required to do such a job.
Oh yeah.
Well, like you have to be able to see top down really well.
And here's the thing that yeah, you're right. I one of the big monkey wrenches, I guess in my opinion, the monkey wrench that gummed up the works the most was the fact that this virus, the COVID-19 virus, originated in China, and China is like the global hub of manufacturing. Like they make everything for everyone. There's manufacturing taking place across the world, but everybody's dependent on China. So
that's a good point.
That kind of started there, like, and they're shutting things down, and people are staying. They're you know, in lockdown or quarantine or something like that. Nobody can work, and everybody's like, and of course, even just the act of like PPE, like putting masks on and social distancing, completely fucks your entire manufacturing process. Now everything is like, it's all changed, and people start saying, well, you can't stand there, but it's like, well, you have to stand there to be able to do what you do. And then somebody gets sick, and then they're out, and like the one person that knows how to do something, they can't come to work for like 2 weeks. Like it completely messes everything up. And the whole planet is dependent on China in some way, one way or another. Like the US in particular, like, oh my God, we're like one of their biggest trading partners. Like so much stuff comes from China. And
well, and then you get closed borders when things get too bad in one country and not the other, and they're like, hey, you stay over there, you know.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point. That like every country was not allowing people to travel.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, well, now, me as the person who's kind of like heading a particular company in China, I can't even get into China to do the work that I need to do. So now they're kind of left on their own, or those people can't come here, or I can't go over there,
Oh man, I hope this doesn't happen again, because I have a girlfriend in Germany, and like,
Yeah.
to not be able to visit all of a sudden, like I always felt bad for people that were like in that situation. Like now you have a supply chain issue to your own family and friends and
Oh, well,
your
and
work and stuff. Like
that's another factor too, is the morale side of things. Like, how good of a worker are you going to be after having, being separated from your family and having to sit in like a hole for a couple of weeks, but like feeling like shit and stuff. And then you come out and it's like, oh, back to work. You better get back to work because they need toilet paper over there in the US.
The pandemic taught us how to be frugal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you expect commerce to bounce back. Well, now people aren't as spend happy. They aren't addicted to buying shit anymore, unless they had an Amazon account. But
Yeah.
like you didn't have that I don't know, the crowd mentality, because there were no crowds.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think the shortages of things and the uncertainty that came about as a result of this, like, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to have a job tomorrow. People did become more frugal and more careful about their purchases. That, I would say it probably went one way or the other. Either somebody had some kind of come to Jesus moment where they realized like, oh, I'd better like, take care of things. I can't just frivolously spend. Or it went the other direction where people are like, oh my God, life is short. My friend just died of COVID. I'm going to like, it's time to buy a sports car. Like I could see either side happening. But yeah, I think people were a lot more cautious about buying things and acquiring things after that. It's like, oh yeah, there's more to life than what we
cars.
Thought.
Cars, for instance, the way car lots handled stuff was like online orders only. How were the salesmen making any money from that? All that was doing was keeping the industry going on autopilot.
Yeah. And how do you test drive online?
Exactly. Like nobody was test driving. Nobody was like getting commissions. It was just like a steady flow of money going right up the chain.
Yeah, which could explain the high price of cars now too. Although there's other explanations, chip shortages too. That's a more complex thing, but like chip shortages, things are very electronic.
Why would you pay more for a new car that doesn't have the chip that you want? So it's like I get why like the scarcity thing is, would make prices go up, but the part that baffles me is the scarcity of this thing. It negatively impacts the thing it's plugging into. The thing you're buying is the car. You could care less about the chip until it's not there.
Well, no, the chips are there. The problem is that there aren't enough to be able to manufacture enough vehicles. So the vehicles are in short supply.
Right.
And of course, by extension, okay, it's kind of hard to find a new car.
But they sell them without the chip too.
Well, okay, I'm talking about like chips that are part of the functionality, like the drive computer in your car. Like you can't even start a car without that. Modern cars. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, people were the MSRP of new cars was stated, it's publicly known, but they were selling for like $10,000 or $20,000 over MSRP because there were not that many of them to begin with. And then used cars started getting expensive because people were like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to pay like $100,000 for like an F-150. That's ridiculous. So they buy a used one. And now, of course, the used ones are in short supply. And one of the problems too was way back in the day in the US, there was that whole like what was some kind of cars for cash thing. Like they gave you some money to turn in an old car and then they crushed them. Well, that got rid of a huge chunk of the used car market. So there's not that many used cars either. And will people need cars? Like, what are you going to do?
And that was so impactful that, so when I bought a new car to move back here from Memphis, well, not like a new car, but you know, I had to finance it. Yeah, everyone knows as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's not worth as much. Well, when the shortage happened, all of a sudden, for the first time ever in history, probably, you were selling a used car and getting equity off of it. I did that. I got like $4,000 in equity.
Wow. Yeah, that's actually an interesting point.
I made money by having a car. Like
by buying a newish car, no less, too, which is like usually seen as kind of like a financial negative. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. And you know, I don't know that all of this is completely the product of the pandemic. Certainly, yeah, it's a major component of that. But I mean, it just shows the fragility of the system, like how susceptible our lives are, like the things we depend on are to any little thing. Like one little tiny thing happens and all of a sudden, oh, you can't buy that anymore. Like, oh, we don't have any. I mean, I bought a really old Subaru Forester, and it needed a wheel bearing. And well, the only way to do it was with a shop press. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna go to Harbor Freight, right? I'll get a shop press at Harbor Freight for like $50-$60 or something. It should be no problem. I seen them there. I know they sell them. So I go there and there's a tag, but there's no shop presses. And I asked somebody, one of the sales associates, and they're like, oh yeah. There's like, yeah, all those ships that you see, hundreds of ships, container ships and stuff just hanging out down there in California. That's where that shop press is. Like we're out. I'm like, oh shit. Well, okay. And I'm not entirely certain exactly why that whole port problem happened there in California. Like why there was such a bottleneck of getting ships in and things unloaded.
I think it was just a lack of people to do the necessary work to make that happen. Like, and because that's the other part of this, right? Like ever since then, service has been shit. And I mean, like not to put any one person at fault for like not being good enough. I understand that like they're trying to do more than they really ought to be. Yeah. And make a living. So like I try extra hard to maintain patience with
so do
everything now, but it is hard because like everything's shit.
Like exactly. Well, and then one aspect too of hiring new people is training people. And if you're short staffed there in your top level staff, that the managers and people who would normally train people, and they just kind of, I mean, companies are kind of left like, well, we got to have a cashier. So we'll just throw them out there and hope for the best, you know. Like, and so I'm exceedingly patient with people. And I think everybody should be like, well, you know, the only time you should ever complain is if something is egregiously wrong, or an employee in a place, wherever you're at, a restaurant or a store, is a dick to you. Like if somebody's an outright asshole, okay, sure, that's the time to complain. But because, well, you got to stand in line a little bit longer. Like, okay. I remember I'm old enough to remember seeing the photographs of the lines at the supermarkets in the Soviet Union, and I followed the Great Depression quite a bit, and the soup kitchen lines and stuff, and like people would stand in line for days. Oh, and like South Africa too. I don't know if you've seen some of the shit there. So just to get into the parking lot of a grocery store, there's mile long lines of cars just sitting there waiting. So it's like, hey, it's not that bad. It's not really that much of an inconvenience. And honestly, we have things in the Western world, so to speak. Things are so convenient that I think we've gotten kind of weak, like unable to handle even the slightest bump in the road. That's my take on that, I guess.
Yeah. I know way back in season 1, we had talked about whether America is like getting a little on the weak side. But I don't know. I feel like what's wrong with that? I don't mean actual weak, but like maybe become less strong, because like you can think your way into staying alive a little bit better than just muscling your way through staying alive.
Oh, for sure. And in fact, in nature, the species that survive and thrive and overcome are not the strongest physically. They're the most clever species.
Yeah, because it's more expensive to use brute force than your brain.
Well, and probably not as productive too. That's another thing. However, complaining, complaining at the slightest inconvenience does strike me as a little bit of like, I'm going to coin this term now, royalistic. There. Yeah.
So, sorry, my internet got choppy there. So it was like,
oh yeah. Royalistic. That so it's a little bit like you feel like you're royalty. You're so used to being waited on hand and foot, that if that is interrupted in any way, then it's anger time. Like I'm gonna get all pissed off over that. Like, and I think that does kind of happen in some of the advanced cultures. Like we have running water. The water doesn't turn on, we get pissed. Toilet doesn't flush, we get pissed. The lights don't turn on, the power goes out or something, we get pissed. But it's like, you do realize like most of the world doesn't have this luxury. Like it's kind of remarkable in a lot of places if the water actually runs and is drinkable. And so, maybe have a little bit of grace, a little understanding of that. And that also might make us more able to handle or weather these kinds of storms, I guess. Unpredictability.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly see the logic in that. And, I don't disagree with that. But I also don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that because I mean, you can't plan for every contingency, right? It's pretty easy to look in hindsight and say, oh, we should have been more prepared for that, and put a lot of like weight on that. But should you? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like you're always going to be not as strong as you would like.
That's true.
Nobody's perfect. So like we have to have like deficiencies in, everything.
Definitely. I mean, I guess I feel like it, to me, all this whole experience was very enlightening, the last few years and all this stuff, in in dealing with things with grace, and understanding, and just kind of acceptance. Some would say a lot of people became numb as a result of it. There's a hilarious Ryan George skit about that, about his roommate being inhabited by a ghost, possessed by a ghost, and he just doesn't care. He's like, oh yeah, okay, well, might as well, you know. But I think maybe the positive of this is that, I mean, at least for me, it kind of illustrated what's important, like what you should care about, what you need to put emphasis on, and it does kind of point to like life is short. Like maybe be frugal and stockpile things for some kind of eventuality, but also live your life. Like maybe saving and stockpiling all your resources is pointless. Like, well, because we could die tomorrow. In fact, what's going on right now in the Russo-Ukraine war, we really could die tomorrow. Everybody could die tomorrow. So maybe it's okay to kind of live a little.
I tell you what, as soon as I adopted that philosophy, which is not too long ago, so much happier. You know, there's a lot that plays into that too, but you know, it's interesting that I've learned to be happy in these shitty times. You know, like my parents are dying, and you know, you know, had so much change and turmoil in the last 2 years. Like, but I'm still happy. And I shouldn't be. Like, I just should not be. Like,
well, on paper, sure,
right.
But the thing is, like, yeah, you can be happy in any situation. You could be happy as a POW being tortured. Like, there are moments, there are points that are positive inside of that sphere. Sure, that's probably the worst possible thing you could undergo. Right up there with like a terminal illness or something like that. But you know, maintaining that sense of mirth, that like a sense of humor.
Sense of humor is going to save lives. Because I don't know. I feel like I don't want to force anyone to do anything they're not comfortable with, but you should normalize laughing at medical misfortune, like cancer and stuff like that. Being jovial, cracking jokes to lighten the mood when you're going through something shitty. Do you understand how precious and important it is to be able to feel like you're comfortable doing that, to help you get through your cancer treatments, to like distract yourself, to take your mind off it? So like, why are we shaming the idea of like, are you uncomfortable hearing it? Well, boo-hoo, you're uncomfortable hearing a joke. That person's uncomfortable because they're vomiting and pissing blood and, you know, their hair's falling out.
That's a good point. The people who are the squeakiest wheels, so to speak, tend to be people who are not going through those kinds of things. Like I see people on TikTok who have disabilities of one sort or another, and they're making fun of it. They're making light of it. And it's like, well, yeah, shouldn't we all be doing that? Shouldn't we all be laughing together at the absurdity of it all? Like,
and I mean, that goes for traumas too. I'm sorry, but like, I'm not sorry. Like, I don't mind hearing a rape joke, and I've been raped, because I think that the way that I reduce the severity of my trauma was by learning to laugh at it as soon as possible.
That is probably one of the most important points that anybody could ever make. Like, yeah, by taking something super seriously and, oh, you got to be serious about that. It's like, well, now it feels very serious to you. And if you can kind of like dismiss it through humor, I mean, humor is the way to handle all of the worst things that you could possibly go through.
Yeah.
It's a great, and it's also a great way to get people to think about things in ways they would otherwise not. Like, you know, the different cultures or you know, variations on the human shape and structure. Like, humor is the way to humanize people, essentially. Like, if we can all laugh together, we can all love together. Oh shit, that would be an intro clip if this were an actual episode.
I tell you what, like, when my friend was here in town, my cousin was helping take care of my dad, and my dad had to go to the ER one of those days. And I talked to my cousin the next day, and he said, "Oh, you know, I think he's doing better." He was still cracking jokes there at the hospital, and I'm thinking in my head, that's not a sign of getting better. It's a sign of like needing to distract yourself from your terror.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, not to say that everybody that's cracking a joke is like trying to hide pain, but I mean, maybe they are, but
it could
I'm not
be
saying that.
but that might, you might be onto something there. And certainly when you're dealing with something so terrifying as your final days, right? Like, you're at the end of your life, which way is better to deal with it? Joke about it or cry and lament things? Like, I mean, if you're facing the Grim Reaper, is it more noble to like, oh, please don't kill me, or is it more noble to be like and crack a joke? You know, like, I mean, that's the way to go out, right? Laugh about it.
And I don't know about laughing and pointing.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm going to do. Actually, no, I'm probably going to go out. Well, unless, you know, mind that bus, what bus splat happens. I'm going to go out in a fighter jet. Like, that's my plan. Yeah. Because the last thing I want, and you know, and maybe this is personal to everybody. Like, how do you want to deal with death? Oh, geez, this is getting really deep now.
From the supply chain to death.
I told you, man. I told you this is gonna go down a completely different path.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, the last thing I want would be to be in some kind of hospital bed with a, you know, bunch of shit hooked up to me and everybody looking down on me and being like, oh, it's so sad. No, I want to be like, I want to go out like Sky King. And people would be like, yeah, fuck, that was awesome. Man.
I think that was our last episode.
Yep. But that's how I want to go out. Like,
we got some comments. See, people, when you start talking about death, that's something everybody's interested in.
I know, for the first half hour, there's like no comments, and then we switch on that. Yeah.
You want to take that one?
I'll take the top one, I guess. So when I picked up bodies for the funeral home, I would say I loved my job because my clients didn't talk back. Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
And that's a good attitude.
But that actually ties in with the whole customer service thing we were talking about. Like, hey, you know,
yeah,
there's no Karens when you're dead.
Oh, somebody said I want it to just not hurt too much. I mean, yeah.
And that's fair, and that's kind of why I want to like I yeah, like my thought is like if somebody said, oh yeah, there's inoperable terminal disease of some sort, I'd probably find my way to the local Air Force base and hijack a fighter jet, and fly it around like Sky King, and because you'd be, if you did crash, that'd be it.
Here's the first thing you do is you contact an Air Force base on the East Coast and you ask them politely, oh, hey, could I have one of your like old fighter jets you're about to retire and put in the mothballs, and you just kind of like show me how to use it real quick and point me to a spot where I can nose down and it won't hurt anybody. And then they'll say no. And then they won't be looking for you here at the Air Force Base when you tiptoe in and hijack the Tomcat or whatever.
Okay, yeah. Although,
but now that I've said the plan live, oh shit! Damn
it! Shit. Well, nowadays, like if you did have a terminal illness today, right now, we'll just go to Ukraine. There's like tanks and fighter jets for free, like BTRs, all kinds of shit. Like, yeah, they're just abandoning it. Like, Russia is the greatest supplier of arms to Ukraine. Well,
we should go get a tank and do the show from the tank.
I would. Well, okay. How about like a Su-35? I don't know if it's a two-seater, but that'd be a nice aircraft to fly. Love those things. But you could go over there and do that. Oh wait, we're getting more comments too.
Do you have a magic carpet? Yeah, a little 3-seater.
Red Dwarf always. I'm surprised even our quotes don't get demonetized.
Maybe you could go to the airplane graveyard in Arizona.
Oh yeah, the boneyard.
The boneyard.
The boneyard, yeah, that is down I think it's south of Tucson. Is it the Davis Monthan Air Force Base? I think, where they store all the aircraft that are kind of used to be cannibalized for parts, and I don't know. There's some functional ones down there. The problem with that, with going down there, is those are not prepped and ready aircraft. I would want one that was like ready to go. Like, yep. This has just been flown. If it's in mothballs, you're probably not going to be able to take off with it unless you're like some kind of super engineer.
Yeah, you can't really hijack something for like 3 months while you get repairs done.
Yeah. I'm just gonna like pull it across the desert, all the way to my house, and then push it into my driveway and like work on it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it'd have to be something already ready to go. Oh, there's another comment before that. I thought you were going out on a Viking funeral pyre set to sea by beautiful women. Yes, that is the plan.
Well, that was the plan, but the supply chain has made it so there's no beautiful women available right now. So unfortunately, Eric's Viking funeral pyre is just sitting in mothballs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, see, that is the plan, but it's after I die. It's the point where you go from being an alive person to being not alive anymore,
to being dead.
Yeah, that's the point I'm talking about, is like how you're gonna go out. Like, how do you want to leave this world? I want, and just for the record, I want, yes, the funeral pyre thing is my wish, and I don't want it to be a bunch of sadness and a somber stuff with priests and who whatever saying like a bunch of Bible verses and oh, it's so sad. No, I want it to be a party. I want people to celebrate my life. Listen to the music that would normally be at the end of this episode and have a party. That's what I want. That would be a great funeral.
Or if everybody got together and did an episode.
Yeah.
That's the funeral. Like everybody that loved us comes and they get on Zoom and they record a giant kitchen sink microscopy episode.
Yeah. See, that would be good.
That's
too.
The perfect funeral for either one of us.
Yeah.
Let's normalize doing what the fuck you want as a funeral. Like, what kind of party do you want to leave people with?
Yeah, memories too. Like, and this is the thing that I like about my mom's funeral, is that people did cry a bit and stuff. My dad actually gave a speech that was akin to Star Trek 2. His was the more human, like he gave a really good talk there. But it was so full of vibrancy and remembering my mom and people telling stories, and that's a good thing. That's what we should be doing.
I mean, on the surface it looked like a normal funeral. It was in a church and everything. But like the vibe was more camaraderie and stuff. Like, my dad and Joe's dad were like talking to each other's ears off, and I don't think they had ever met before that.
Yeah, I know. So crazy. Like, my mom would have loved that, because that was the whole point, is like my mom was a bright and uplifting kind of person, and that's the kind of service she would want, is something uplifting where you're not like talking about, oh my god, I'm so sad. It's like, oh no, I'm so happy I met this person. That's what my mom would have wanted, and that translates to me. Like, I feel the same way.
We should also be celebrating our loved ones while they're alive. That's the only argument I see for like being okay with an anniversary is, like birthdays and stuff, and anniversaries, and like there's celebrations, right?
Yeah.
They're like taking a day to just kind of celebrate someone you like. And that's cool. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's true. I guess even though I feel like days like Valentine's Day are far too commercialized, I get the point. And I don't, it doesn't bother me if somebody gives me a Valentine's card. Like, I kind of appreciate it. I don't necessarily always give them myself, but I still appreciate the people that I care about.
It's if it's something that's important to the person that I care for, my opinion of it will change. And here's why that's a good thing, is because like I'm treating it the way they want to be treated, if that makes sense. So like I used to be with some girls that thought, oh, Valentine's Day is no big deal or whatever. And then I was in a relationship with someone I really cared for, and she expressed a little bit of sorrow for not having anything for Valentine's Day. And like, I had stayed over the night. And so in the morning, while she was showering for work, I literally ran from her apartment to a 7-Eleven like 5 blocks away, bought some roses, and ran back while she was in the shower to bring her some flowers late. And it's like, I wouldn't personally put that much, value on it, but she did. So I adjusted my opinion.
I think I really like that story. And particularly because I think what's more important is not the flowers, it's the effort that you went to do something. That's kind of important.
I do tend to do that. Like, I'm not like the world's greatest gift giver, but there are like certain gifts that I come up with where like I envision not only the gift itself, but like a way to present it that's memorable as like a gift in itself. And I'm like pretty good at doing that. Like, I made a board game for a friend for a birthday.
Nice.
That was based on our friendship.
Oh, that's cool.
And it played really well, actually. like we played it after, she unwrapped it. It's like, well, might as well play it. And it was super fun. Like, and I don't know, that's kind of a cool gift to have, is gift giving.
And that's personal. It's a personal thing that you put together yourself. Your own hands, your own mind was involved in that. And that's more meaningful than any amount of money you could have spent. Which I guess is like one of the things that I get kind of troubled by, is like this idea that you need to spend money, and like how much money you spend on something is so relevant, when honestly it's not. Like, you don't even have to spend any money. Just crafting a simple thing, something personal, that's way more valuable than all the dollars or whatever, like whatever currency you use in the world. Oh, we've got more comments too.
Oh yes.
Well, I guess I'll start with the first comment, and we can kind of take turns, I guess.
All right.
Let's see. I totally want a massive party, Christmas themed, with tons of decorations and music. Snow too. Yeah, exactly.
We'll have Snowden.
Oh man,
that was a pretty good dad joke. You gotta admit, people.
I'm actually wondering what Edward Snowden is doing right now in Russia.
Yeah. How weird is it that Steven Seagal is fighting for the Russians?
Is that real? Fighting, like, yeah.
Like, what a weird random flex. Like, hey, I'm gonna go side with the country that everybody else in the world hates right now.
Oh yeah, and the thing of, like, with Russia is like the countries, the very few countries. I think there's like, Belarus, Uzbekistan, China, North Korea, Iran, maybe. Although there's a big revolution going on there right now with all kinds of protests, like real protests, unlike what they did in Russia. Like, all those countries are just tolerating Russia. They're not like friends. They're just kind of like, we're trading stuff. China wants some coal and some natural gas, and they're supplying a few things and some chips and stuff, and it's like a tenuous relationship. Well, hey, you feed me, we fuck. That's good enough. That's that kind of relationship. Like, Russia has no actual allies. That's the thing.
Russia's like the kid on the playground that's like scary buff but really dumb. So you just kind of like play nice around him so you don't piss him off.
And then you run behind a tree and he's like, where'd it go? That's Russia.
Ukraine, get behind that tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Putin's like, wait, where'd they go? Who are we fighting? Why are we even fighting, man?
Cobra man. Oh yeah, I'd love to talk about like the recent developments over there with like the 100,000+ or 1,000,000 soldiers. Oh my god, bullshit like that. Like Zelensky said, do you really want to paint Ukraine with more Russian blood? Because that's what's going to happen. But I don't want to be too morose at this.
Yeah.
We have more comments too.
Yes.
So
then cremate me and deal with my ashes in whatever way you see fit. Kitty litter would be fine, or a coral reef, mushroom food, etc. Grit the snowy path.
Yeah, I feel like people are too concerned with the sacredness of the dead, and I don't understand that. Like, the thing that was important was not their physical body. It was up here. It was the person, their mind. That's what matters. And it's gone now. So the physical remains really don't matter. Okay, yeah, if you work in an industry where you're dealing with the dead all the time and handling bodies and stuff, well, you have to kind of like defer to other people. What do they want? But me, I don't care. Like, yeah, do whatever. Once I'm dead, it doesn't matter.
Stuff like that is a trigger for a memory, or like creating a poignant memory that you can recall as you want, but like if you have an urn or something on your mantle, every time you walk by it, you think of that person. And it's like, I don't see a problem with that.
Sure.
Creating something that will surprise you throughout the day with the memory of your loved one. I think that's kind of a sweet sort of thing.
Yeah, I agree. However, I think you could achieve the same effect with a photograph.
Well, absolutely, but a photograph isn't like something that used to be physically part of that person, whereas like ashes or something they owned or whatever,
Sure. Okay. All right. I agree. As a loose practitioner of witchcraft, tokens and talismans and physical things, physical manifestations are like really, really important. And it has to do with, I believe, the way humans work, that having something tangible, like a representation of somebody or a thing or a place that is real, like a thing you can hold on to, that is a piece of that.
It carries their energy.
Yeah, exactly. And
I get that too. Yeah, like,
and even if it's not real energy, even if it's just in your head, I mean, really, is there any difference?
I mean, yeah, that is real energy. We don't know what a soul is or how what happens to memories when a person dies. They just fizzle out, or do they actually go somewhere? Like, there's matter and there's energy. We know ghosts aren't matter, so must be energy. This ergo that. It really does kind of come down to that in physics. Well, I mean, I'm not like a PhD physicist or anything, and maybe there's more to that than
I don't think you have to be a PhD in physics, to, because you made some really good points there, which physics majors probably would not have. So, I mean, think about that how you will.
I think it would be cool someday if, because of this show, we each got like honorary doctorates in something.
That would be cool. Knighthoods.
We have like 200 some odd theses right now.
We do.
Oh, we present this for submission, and they're like, oh, damn, that was a good episode. We'll do this honorary doctorate in public urination.
Yeah. Oh, wouldn't that suck if that was the only one we got?
That was a good episode, though.
It was. Yeah. Oh, man.
I just saw one pop up that says your ashes can be turned into a diamond. I would prefer to be useful and leave a legacy instead of being interred somewhere. That reminds me, like my cat's ashes, I intend to have made into tattoo ink and get something that, one of those triggers that reminds me when I see it. But not only that, but like physically, my cat would be with me forever.
A partner of mine did that with her husband's ashes too.
Yeah. Oh, I met her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
good looking tattoo too. Nice crisp edges, like ashes of really good ink addition.
It is. And again, I don't want to like poo-poo people and say like, oh, this is meaningless, because I don't think it is. Really, like the meaning, you make your own meaning. We all do. And the meaning is significant to the people in your life who have come and gone, and we're all gonna go at some point.
And but to your point, like, don't put too much into it. Like, oh no, their body was never found. We'll never have closure because we can't bury it or burn it. Well, why don't you transfer that memory trigger to whatever you were holding when you got the news or whatever, like somewhere you can say, this is where I'm going to put the focal point of the energy that was my lost loved one. Like you can transfer that stuff rather than let it fade.
Well, yeah, you don't necessarily need the entirety of somebody's remains. I mean, because they're not the person. What makes the person a person who is no longer here is us, all of us, our memories. Yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, what becomes important if you don't have access to the physical body, an article of clothing, a special thing in your kid's bedroom or something like that. That now is the thing. I would caution against treating it too carefully and making it like a totem. But
right. And I was just about to bring that up too, is like, like contain the grief in something feasible to still live your own life, like don't let it become too much of a point of obsession either, with any grief, not even just like somebody dying, but like breakups or whatever. Like get through what you got to get through, but get through it as fast as possible and just get back to normal. Like at your own speed, but like don't torture yourself.
I wholeheartedly agree. And this is an important thing for people to understand, I guess. This took me a while to understand. Everything has a beginning. Everything has an end. but ultimately it's a cycle. You know, what you know materially as a person or a job or whatever your some trinket you have, those things were made and they may be destroyed, but nothing is ever really destroyed. It's just transmuted, from matter into energy and energy into matter, and it all like comes back again. You put a body in the ground in a casket, and the casket is dissolved by the earth. So is the body, and it becomes part of the earth, and it becomes part of the new rebirth.
Circle of life.
Yeah. Well, it really is. Like, I love that song, by the way.
No, that's interesting. Like, I'm feeling a lot of deep thoughts. Like, wow, what we become when we die. It's interesting. It begs the question, like, well, I mean, like, I've heard this adage before, like, you never truly die as long as somebody remembers you.
That is a pretty good, that's a good
so
saying.
like I think that's why we strive for celebrity status and stuff like that, is to be like recorded in history for as long as possible. I mean, I can't I'm an atheist that's somewhere in the agnostic spectrum. I can't say whether or not I'll give a shit when I'm already dead. Maybe my energy lives on and I'm like, hey, you forgot me already?
Okay, so let's make this agreement right now. If one of us dies before the other, we have to come back and haunt the other person.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Like, dude, in a good way, right?
Well, so my buddy Jeff that killed himself when he was 19, at one point his house went up for sale and I really wanted to buy it. I was not financially capable at the time, but like, I wanted to live at the house that my friend shot himself at because I hoped it would be haunted.
Yeah.
I wanted to be haunted.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Ooh, I'm home.
I wanted to be haunted. That's actually like a title of a song that we should do. We totally should do that. But that's a good point. It's like, that would be a good haunting, because like, think about it. If your best friend like was like messing with you in your house, like, is that like really a bad thing?
Like, your friendship could continue. You could crack jokes together and you could like wake up and see each other and like, tip your coffee cups at each other in the morning and go boo.
Your friend like opens and closes doors randomly because apparently that's all ghosts can really do. Like move things across rooms and stuff.
If I'm a ghost, like, every time you go to the bathroom, I'm gonna come in and be like,
yeah.
I'm going to look at you.
Get another Red Dwarf.
You'll never be able to pee again.
It's gonna be like, oh yeah.
God damn it, quit watching me pee, Ghost Casey.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make it a point to die before you do. Yeah. So we have another comment. I'd rather be buried without the casket. Yeah. What? Honestly, I don't understand caskets. I don't understand
contamination.
Well, why are they so expensive too? It's a
that's dumb. That's a cash grab, but like containing the waste until it's been processed by scavengers is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to cost tens of thousands of dollars
No,
or
I'm not
thousands
saying
of
it
dollars.
should. I think they should be very cheap, but like I think we should opt if you're not going to be cremated or turned into a tree or a tattoo or whatever.
Oh,
At least get a casket. Like,
there are so many new options too.
yeah,
God, this is mind blowing how we started off talking about a completely different topic.
yeah, the supply chain and
Yeah, the supply chain, and now we're
our
talking death
economics
and caskets.
episodes are always the most philosophical.
Exactly. Um,
I don't know why, but
uh, it's the magic KSM. Uh, it, yeah, I would rather be buried without a casket too, or I don't want to even be buried. Honestly, I
if
like
you're gonna do that, do the James T. Kirk burial, where you're just out in the desert somewhere and somebody covers you with rocks.
oh
So,
yeah.
like your
Or is it
decomposition is slowed a little bit
or
and
is
it's
it
not going to seep into anything.
is it James R. Kirk too? Though, right? Remember? Yeah. I, I would rather be set on fire, honestly. My own personal view. Because again, I don't
Not while alive,
believe.
but
Huh?
not while alive, but
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. No, not
you
unless.
might want to make that clarification.
Well, if I'm in India protesting, I might have to pour gasoline on myself and set myself on fire. But fortunately, I'm not one of them doing that right now. But yeah. Hmm. Oh, the whole casket thing. The okay, they're expensive because they're fancy, which I don't understand. Um, you dig a hole in the ground, and then you put a deceased person in this box, and then put the box in the dirt, and then put dirt over it. Why does it have to look nice? I mean,
Right.
are you expecting to impress people crossing the river Styx? Like, really? Is that a thing? Um, Otherwise, what's the point? Like, you could easily be, it could be a box made of pallet pieces and be equally as
Yeah, that's pretty
effective.
ridiculous. Like the Kiss casket. Yeah. Or there's probably a Nike casket. It's like you're showing off for like half an hour, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they put you in the dirt and put dirt on top of you. Like, what's the point? Why does it
howdy
have to
time
look
for all
like?
the little worms.
Oh, third Red Dwarf reference. Nice. All right. Hmm. Yeah, this is I honestly don't understand it. I don't know why people even want to be buried to begin with. Like, why is that the tradition? Why?
Well, I mean, trace society back as far as you can. There was a time where building a fire that burns hot enough to incinerate bone wasn't actually possible at all. Like the only way you had to not smell this dead person was to cover them with dirt.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean,
like
in that
it
context.
was born of necessity. Like there was a point where that was really the only way to dispose of your dead.
Well, so then riddle me this. Why have we
Appeal to
refined?
tradition. I know what you're gonna ask.
Yeah, yeah.
It's appeal to tradition, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I
we've
mean,
always put people in the ground. So
yeah, exactly. But why have we refined things down to this point? Um, we have new technology and stuff, and Well, shit. Yeah. You could get a tattoo from your deceased loved one on your
Yeah.
body, from their own body. Uh, that's an option too, which is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, people would point to the Bible right now, I think, and say, well, it says ashes to ashes. So you should put a body in the dirt.
Wait a minute.
Dust to
Wait,
dust.
oh, no, wait. Hold on a second. Ashes.
Yeah.
Why would you bury somebody if it says ashes?
Yeah.
You
How did
would
I
burn
miss
them.
that? Wow. I was going a completely other direction, but like that's the quicker way.
Yeah.
Or in a pinch, we could use the teleporter.
Yeah, like I mean, if you believe that God is up there somewhere, why would you put yourself? Oh, okay. Let's also add that if you believe God is up there and that the antithesis of God is down there, why would you put yourself closer
Yeah.
to the down there? You know, like I don't get it. Why bury people? It does actually. Okay, I'm gonna go out here and say that I think it speaks to the pagan origins of Christianity, the being farmers and stuff, and the understanding the circle of life and all that stuff. They would put people in the ground to be turned to compost and become part of the earth and become part of the next crop. And I don't know how that something happened, lost in translation, I guess.
I mean, that still occurs even with a casket, but it's more like it's more of a titration than a dump. You know, if you just bury something in the ground with no casket, you're just dumping the body there, like literally and microscopically.
Well, I think that happened. Didn't that happen for thousands of years too?
But who's to say it didn't like damage something in such a way that, I don't know, it created the catalyst for whatever made us what we are today. But I don't know. I was going a different direction, but I lost it.
Gosh, damn it.
All these forks in the road.
I know. Well, we've forked pretty heavily already.
I do fork pretty heavily.
So do I. So do I.
Giggity giggity
goo. But why, if you're going to put somebody in the ground to be reclaimed by the earth, why use materials that are non-biodegradable, like aluminum and stainless steel?
Oh, that's what I was getting at, the titration.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the worms get in there and they eat you, and then they go back out and they shit into the dirt and fertilize it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're shitting you into the dirt, but a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there.
So that kind of like raises the question in my mind, like how much of the earth is made of dead people shit?
We're all standing on dead people.
This is like Soylent Green. Oh man.
And it also like kind of takes the juice out of the whole like built on ancient Indian burial grounds. Well, it's like every bit of dirt was probably some living thing at some point.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Huh. That's a really good point that I don't think anybody considers.
I mean, it's all perspective, right? Like everything we eat is dead people. We sleep on dead people. If you're putting a condom on, you're fucking dead people. I mean, like,
okay, so if this were a regular episode, that would be the other thing I would put in there, because that is awesome.
Oh man, that would get us demonetized too.
Yeah, it probably already has. It's okay. We're used to it here on KSM.
Yeah. This one's live, so they're probably gonna take a little time to catch that one, but
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised by now, like somebody hasn't kicked in the door and been like, YouTube, put your hands up, and they've got like shades and windbreakers that say YouTube on them.
They're like, FBI, open up. We have another comment, but you're getting a little your bandwidth is low. Oh, never mind. Nope, you're okay now. Ish.
Nope. Well, anytime you need me to
think
come
it's
running, just say my name and I'll
Rima. I think it's your neighbor looking into things.
Oh, could be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. So you should totally make a video of that. I already forgot what we were just talking about.
We talked about a couple different things, so I'm not sure.
Damn it. I don't know if it's like being in our 40s or the beer or both.
I think both is my answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So prior to that, there's a comment. Oh, the YouTube police. That was the make a video of that. Yeah.
That would be a damn good video.
Yeah. Oh, if this were like a regular episode,
I tell you,
throw in that FBI open up video because it's fucking epic.
We've got to do something that I just forgot because I was going to talk about something about how much we forget things, but I forgot the thing.
Hey, why don't we do an episode of forgetfulness?
What were we talking about, man?
I don't remember.
The four of us.
So prior to the previous comment, there was another one. That's why you should never dust. You could be dusting up your friends.
Oh yeah.
We're
everywhere. Yep.
Okay. So that reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek TOS, the original series, where everybody was turned to dust. And there were like piles of dust, which Red Dwarf did joke about too, by the way.
I was gonna bring that up.
What is this? And you know, like Lister's like licking the dust, and it's like
less than an hour and a half in, and we've got like 6 Red Dwarf references already.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it wouldn't be a KSM episode if we didn't have that.
No, seldom is there an episode where we don't make some allusion to Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it's just sad that BBC has.
Does anyone ever say illusion anymore?
Well, you just did.
I mean, I know I just did, but I say weird shit. Like, does anyone really say that anymore?
I mean, have. Oh, I mean, yeah, geographically, we're pretty close together. So statistically, I guess you could say some people do.
I don't know. It feels like one of those words that's like right on the edge of extinction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, that was the digression.
Very specific.
Does anyone say digression anymore? I don't know. We did that bit already.
Yeah. Oh man. Man, your bandwidth is all over the place.
Yeah, it's choppy, but it constantly says excellent connection. So I don't buy that.
I would either because it did that like going to like the small version.
Hey, if you want to sponsor us with commercials, then we won't say the following about your company. CenturyLink DSL is a piece of shit.
Hey, Starlink.
Hey, kids, do you remember 28.8K dial-up modems? Do you want that speed? Well, you're in luck. You could have CenturyLink DSL.
Try live stream on that shit. They're
like, quick, cut his bandwidth. He's talking shit. And it's live.
Oh, no.
They didn't set up a delay. Hurry.
Oh, no, he's exposing the truth. The globalists are taking over. Ah! Oh, man.
Well, dang. We may have covered everything there is to cover about the supply chain, given that we've crossed over the line between life and death and found out what there is.
Yeah, there is no other YouTube channel out there that can connect those dots. I'm just saying. Man, how do we do this? Oh,
yeah,
no.
we're pretty badass.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Oh yeah, this little sucker is I can't remember if I said this yet. No, I didn't.
You had skin cancer, right?
Yeah, I think I told you, but offline.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone had noticed, the bump on my head for like the last year, that was cancer. Thanks for not telling me, viewers. No, I'm kidding. I wanted to get it checked out. It just literally took this long to get a doctor's appointment. So
wow,
there's some more supply chain shit for you.
I was gonna say supply chain.
Yeah. Like, no, really, like getting doctor's appointments these days is like it's pulling teeth. Like, it's not easy. And actually, that was a whole aspect I wanted to get into, but I have to take a piss too bad. It is like how this affected the economy too.
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
Oh man.
I said it was being checked on the last live episode. That's right. That was last week, huh?
Hey, who filled out this? Do you have a good memory quiz?
Nobody spells Thursday with an F.
You had to say that right as I was taking a swig of that. Oh man.
Well, that's probably enough alcohol.
I think we've rambled on long enough. I'm
not going to impersonate Led Zeppelin this time.
Nor will I. I almost did. I was thinking about it. It was I was on the verge of that.
Yeah. In the upcoming episode, like right at the end, you're like, hey. See, if you hang out to the end, you see all the drunk bits, and that's the best.
Exactly. Yeah. This is where things get good. You might even see me dance. Apparently, I'm good at it. I've been.
Or
told.
You might see me as a ghost watching you pee.
Or maybe we're both ghosts watching each other pee.
It sounds like the start of like some K-pop porn video. I don't know.
This is like Pornhub content. Two ghosts watching each other pee. Like, it's
your search returned one video. Kitchen sink microscopy. What's this?
Hmm.
We found like the one kink nobody had. Oh, two ghosts watching each other pee was not a thing.
Dude, we should totally capitalize on that right now before it becomes a thing. Holy shit. Oh, man.
Instead of two girls, one cup, it's two ghosts watching each other pee.
Yeah. Two ghosts, one toilet. Mm.
Oh. Oh, man, I might piss my pants. There's a lot of good laughs in this one.
Absolutely. And, we got to laugh given all the craziness out there. And I thank everybody for commenting and giving us ideas. And it's not us that lent us or led us to this path to from supply chain issues to death and dying and stuff.
Oh, we're sorry that. Because of supply chain issues, we have no lettuce.
Exactly.
My dad jokes are on fire.
Oh man, if only your dad were here to supply more.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
We should actually have your dad on the show.
Well, remember we talked about how funny it would be to like have each of our dads start the show and just like do an entire show as if nothing was different.
Yeah.
But it's
we might have to make that be a thing. If you want it to be a thing, like and share, comment in the video, just tell us you want that to be a thing. Because we might have to make that a thing. And yeah, there's a lot of people who believe my dad is a robot that I've constructed myself, but I assure you, he is very real. Like, he is an actual person.
The one he keeps chained in the basement that he based the robot off of, yes. It's very real. So thank you all for Deep Sync living with us. And you might not hear a song riding on the wind. It's very silent today near the end of the episode because it's live and we can't edit an awesome song in. So you'll have to go to patreon.com/KSMvidcast and find the songs there.
Yeah.
Do it.
And there's some good fucking songs.
Yeah, we haven't even put out all the best yet.
Oh yeah,
we sprinkle gems in here and there, but the best may yet to become. Best may to yet. Best. Your Casey has shut down. Please reboot.
Your Casey has experienced an existential crisis and will be shut down.
That reminds me, there was a little talking robot called Casey in the 80s that I had. I totally forgot about that.
What?
Not as creepy as Teddy Ruxpin, but
I was all about robots back in the 80s, and I didn't know.
I think it was a Radio Shack robot. Now that I think about it,
Okay, now I'm gonna have to look that up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
hallucinated all of this in a fever dream. Yeah, I had a robot named after me.
Which might be possible. Although, yeah. Oh, we have another comment. Make it a thing. I'll supply the crayons.
What are we drawing in crayon? Us watching each other pee, or
An album cover, perhaps.
hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Crayon.
I haven't dealt with crayons in a long time, but they're pretty
Maybe
fun.
maybe our brains aren't working well enough to remember back 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What the hell we were talking about.
Well, at least we have some awesome in the comment section subscribers that can refresh our memory
Yes.
when our memory fails us, as it inevitably will.
Yep.
Mm.
Will.
Skip. Uh,
Red Dwarf reference number 7. Well, I guess with that, I will bid you adieu if you need to take a do.
Not yet, maybe, but yes, I
Well, I
will.
don't think a P is any language for goodbye, but if you need to take a P.
I absolutely
Oh,
have.
no. A wee wee.
Wee wee. Hey,
Wee
all
wee.
right. Nice. Yes. All right.
Coming in hot with the dad joke on the way out.
Okay. That's a good point to end on. Hold on. What?
Emergency crayons.
Okay. Well, have a good night, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us for as long as you have. Um, Peace out.
Oh, yeah.